During Christmas dinner my sister mocked me for still being single at 40. So I smiled, pulled out my phone and showed her my billionaire fiancé's text saying he just bought her husband's company. Hey everyone. Stories like this mean something to you. Support us by subscribing. Say hi and tell us where you're watching from. Now let's get back into the story. The text from Mama came 3 weeks before Christmas. Family dinner at my house. You better be there, Maya. No excuses this year. I stared at those words, my stomach twisting into familiar knots. 5 years. 5 years since I'd sat at that table, enduring their judgments, their sideways glances, their barely concealed disappointment in me. I was 40 years old, successful, independent, and apparently their greatest failure. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Every instinct screamed to decline, to protect the peace I'd built in my carefully constructed life. But Mama's words carried weight, always had. Growing up in our household meant understanding that family obligations weren't optional. They were commanded, expected, enforced. I'll be there, I typed back, hating myself a little. The response came immediately. Good. Or something nice. And maybe do something with your hair. I set the phone down, my hands trembling. 20 years in corporate law, partner at one of the most prestigious firms in the country, and still I was the disappointment. Not because I'd failed, but because I'd succeeded alone. No husband. No children. No conventional proof that I was a complete woman in their eyes. My apartment, a penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, suddenly felt too quiet. I poured myself wine, expensive Bordeaux that cost more than Mama's monthly mortgage. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent 2 decades proving I didn't need their approval. Yet here I was, anxiety churning because I'd agreed to one dinner. My phone buzzed again. This time not Mama. Missing you tonight, beautiful. Dubai meetings running late. Can't wait to hold you again. I smiled, genuine warmth flooding through me. Tristan. My secret, my joy, my complicated truth. I couldn't sleep that night. Memories invaded like unwanted guests, each one sharper than the last. I was 12 again, watching Daddy praise my sister Vanessa for winning a beauty pageant while my straight-A report card sat ignored on the counter. That's nice, Maya, he'd said without looking up. But pretty girls don't need to be smart. Smart girls need to be pretty. Vanessa had laughed, a sound like breaking glass. The pattern continued through high school. I graduated valedictorian. Vanessa got engaged at 19. Guess which one got the family celebration? I got into law school with a full scholarship. Vanessa married Richard, whose family owned a commercial real estate company. Mama threw her a wedding that cost more than my entire education. At least one of my daughters knows what's important, Mama had said during the reception, her arm around Vanessa's waist. I'd stopped going to family gatherings after that. Oh, I had excuses. Work obligations, cases that couldn't wait, professional development conferences. But the truth? I couldn't bear watching them celebrate Vanessa's mediocrity while dismissing my achievements. She'd married money, I'd earned mine. Only one of those accomplishments mattered to them. My brother Junior was different, the golden child who could do no wrong simply by existing. He'd bounced between jobs, lived in Mama's basement until he was 35, fathered 3 children by 2 different women he never married. Yet somehow he was cherished, forgiven, welcomed. Boys will be boys, Daddy would say with a chuckle. Meanwhile, every year I remained unmarried was treated like a personal insult to the family legacy. I'd built walls to protect myself, brick by brick, achievement by achievement. Partnership at 35. My own firm by 38. Cases that made headlines, settlements that changed industries. None of it mattered. I was still just unmarried, Maya. Tristan entered my life 9 months ago, completely unexpected. We met at a charity gala. I was there representing a client, he was there because he donated $2 million. You look bored, he'd said, appearing beside me with champagne and that devastating smile. Observant, I'd replied. These things are usually torture. Then why come? Professional obligation. You. He'd laughed, genuine and warm. Same actually. Though I suppose when you write the check you're expected to show your face. We'd talked for 3 hours, way past appropriate networking time. He was brilliant, funny, disarmingly honest about his success. I got lucky, he'd said. Right idea, right timing, right investors. Now I spend most of my time trying to figure out how to give it back meaningfully. Tristan owned a private equity firm that specialized in acquiring struggling companies and turning them profitable. His portfolio included tech startups, manufacturing plants, real estate developments, even a few media companies. Forbes estimated his net worth at $3 billion, but he drove himself to meetings and answered his own emails. We kept our relationship quiet. He traveled constantly: Dubai, Singapore, London, Tokyo. I had cases that demanded 80-hour weeks. But when we were together, everything else faded. He saw me. Not my achievements, not my failures, not my age or my marital status. Just me. 3 weeks ago he'd proposed. Simple, private, perfect. I know you don't need me, he'd said, holding a ring that could have paid off a small country's debt. But I need you. Marry me, Maya. Let me spend my life proving you made the right choice. I'd said yes, crying like I hadn't cried in 20 years. We hadn't told anyone yet. Tristan wanted to meet my family first, do things properly. I hadn't told him what properly meant in my family. The morning of Christmas Eve, I stood in my closet, surrounded by designer clothes that suddenly felt like armor I wasn't sure would hold. My phone rang. Vanessa, surprisingly. Maya? You're really coming tomorrow? Her voice carried that particular tone, the one that sounded sweet but cut deep. Mama insisted. Good. It'll be nice to have the whole family together. Richard's excited to see you. Business has been incredible lately. She paused and I could hear the smile in her voice. We're expanding again. 3 new properties this quarter. He's doing so well. That's wonderful, I said, meaning none of it. And you? Still at that law firm. Still there. That's good. I mean, someone has to work, right? She laughed, light and dismissive. We can't all be lucky enough to marry well. There was. The knife slipped between ribs with practiced ease. Listen, I have to go, I said. See you tomorrow. Wait, Maya. Her voice shifted, became conspiratorial. Are you bringing anyone? A date, maybe. The question hung there, loaded with decades of judgment. No, I lied. Just me. Oh, sweetie. Well, you know what they say, 40 is the new 30. Maybe this year will be your year. The pity in her voice was suffocating. I've actually been thinking about setting you up with Richard's accountant. He's 53, divorced twice, but very stable. What do you think? I thought about Tristan probably landing in London right now, texting me from the tarmac. I thought about the ring hidden in my drawer, diamonds catching light like captured stars. I'll think about it, I said and ended the call. My reflections stared back at me from the full-length mirror. Successful. Accomplished. Alone in their eyes. I texted Tristan, missing you. This dinner might be worse than I thought. His response came immediately, you're stronger than whatever they throw at you. Call me after. Always. Mama's house looked like Christmas had exploded inside it. Lights, garland, 3 different trees, each decorated in coordinated themes. Vanessa's doing, undoubtedly. She'd always had a talent for surface beauty. I arrived exactly on time, wearing a simple black dress that cost more than most people's monthly salary but looked understated. Armor disguised as elegance. Paya. Mama opened the door, her eyes immediately scanning me head to toe. I came. Well, come in. Everyone's already here. Translation: you're late even though you're not. The house smelled like ham and sweet potatoes, scents that should have been comforting but instead felt like sensory nostalgia for a childhood that never quite was. Daddy sat in his recliner, barely glancing up. Junior sprawled on the couch with his latest girlfriend, a girl who looked barely 25. Vanessa and Richard held court in the dining room, their children, perfect, polished, performed, sitting straight-backed and silent. Look who finally showed up. Vanessa crossed the room, arms extended for a hug that felt like a performance for our audience. It's been too long, sis. 5 years, I said. Has it been that long? Wow. She pulled back, examining me with theatrical concern. You look tired. Are you sleeping enough? I've got this amazing skincare routine if you want recommendations. Really helps with those fine lines. I was 3 years younger than her, but sure, let's talk about my fine lines. Dinner's ready, Mama announced, and we all migrated to the table like actors taking their marks. I ended up between Junior's girlfriend, who introduced herself as Crystal and seemed sweet but terrified, and Daddy, who still hadn't acknowledged my existence beyond a grunt. Richard stood at the head of the table, playing patriarch, though this wasn't his house. Before we eat, I just want to say how grateful I am for this family, for this success we've built together. We've, like he'd contributed anything to this gathering. Business is booming, he continued. Just closed on 2 major properties. Looking at expanding into 3 new markets next year. The meal started civilly enough. Mama asked about everyone's year, carefully avoiding asking me anything specific about work. Still lawyering, she said, like it was a hobby I might have outgrown. Still lawyering, I confirmed. Must be nice, all that freedom, Vanessa said, passing the green beans. No one to answer to, no schedule but your own. I answer to clients in courts, I said. And my schedule is usually 70 hours a week. Oh, I just meant, no husband, no kids. Must be so much easier to focus on work when you don't have real responsibilities at home. There was the first real jab. Crystal shifted uncomfortably beside me. Even Junior looked up from his phone. Vanessa, Daddy said mildly, the way you might correct a child for speaking with their mouth full, acknowledgement without real rebuke. What? I'm just saying Maya's had so much time to dedicate to her career. It's admirable, really. Vanessa's smile could have cut glass. Not everyone is called to be a mother and wife. Some women are meant for other things. Being a mother is the hardest job, Mama added, because of course she did. Nothing compares to raising children. I'd negotiated settlements worth hundreds of millions. I'd faced down boardrooms full of men trying to intimidate me. I'd rebuilt entire corporate structures and saved thousands of jobs. But sure, nothing compared to Vanessa's kids, who were currently picking at their food and staring at iPads hidden under the table. How's the firm treating you? Richard asked, and I appreciated the subject change until he continued. Must be tough, competing with younger associates. I've heard law is a young person's game now. I'm a partner, I said evenly. I don't compete with associates. I mentor them. Right. So no thoughts about slowing down? Enjoying life a little? He gestured around the table. This is what matters. Family. Legacy. His children were currently fighting under the table. Some legacy. I enjoy my life just fine, I said. Do you? Mama's question hung there, weighted with years of disappointment. Because you seem so lonely, baby. A woman needs more than work. Junior, sensing entertainment potential, leaned forward. Mama's right. When's the last time you even went on a date, Maya? My dating life isn't really table conversation, I said, keeping my voice level despite the anger building in my chest. She's probably too busy for dating, Vanessa said, syrup sweet. All those hours at the office. Men don't like women who work too much, It's intimidating. I thought you said it was admirable, I countered. Well, admirable and attractive are different things. She sipped her wine, leaving a lipstick mark on the glass. Richard, honey, didn't you say your accountant just got divorced? Oh God, not this again. Frank? Yeah, nice guy, Richard said. 53, 2 kids from his first marriage, 1 from his second. He's looking to settle down again. Maybe we could set you 2 up. Vanessa clapped her hands like she'd solved world hunger. It would be perfect. You're both professionals, both at that age where you can't be too picky. I'm not interested, I said firmly. Maya, honey, you need to be realistic, Mama interjected. You're 40 years old. The pool gets smaller every year. Men your age want younger women. You need to be open to options. Like divorced accountants with multiple failed marriages? The words came out sharper than intended. Don't be a snob. Daddy spoke for the first time, his voice carrying that disappointed authority that had shaped my childhood. Your sister's trying to help. She's happy. Settled. Maybe if you weren't so focused on proving something all the time, you'd have what she has. I looked at what Vanessa had. A husband who talked over her constantly. Children being raised by nannies. A life built entirely on someone else's success. A personality that existed only in relation to her man. Maybe I don't want what she has, I said quietly. The table went silent. You could hear Crystal's nervous breathing beside me. Well, Vanessa said, her voice tight. That's pretty clear, isn't it? Saint Maya, too good for marriage and family. Too busy being important. I never said. You didn't have to say it. You show it. Every time you skip Christmas. Every time you're too busy for family events. I came tonight, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. After 5 years. Mama's voice rose. 5 years, Maya. Do you know how that makes us look? People ask about you, and what am I supposed to say? That my daughter is too successful to come see her own family? That's not fair. What's not fair is watching you throw away your life. Daddy slammed his hand on the table, making the dishes rattle. You think you're better than us because you make more money? Because you have some fancy title? I never said that. You don't have to say it, Vanessa cut in, her voice dripping with false sympathy. We all see it, Maya. The way you judge us. The way you look down on my marriage, my choices. I don't look down on you. Really? Because every time Richard talks about his business you get this look. This little smirk, like what he does doesn't measure up to your important legal work. That wasn't true. Or was it? Had my face betrayed thoughts I'd worked so hard to keep silent? Still being single at 40 though, Junior added, laughing. That's gotta hurt. All your friends married? Kids? Watching their lives move forward while you're still playing career woman. Career woman. Like it was a costume I wore, not my actual life. I'm happy with my choices, I said, but my voice wavered. Are you? Mama leaned forward, her eyes glistening. Because you look miserable, baby. You look like a woman who chose wrong and is too proud to admit it. The table erupted in agreement. Vanessa nodding vigorously. Daddy grunting his assent. Even Richard joined in with some comment about career women he'd worked with, how they all ended up alone and regretful. Only Crystal stayed quiet, her eyes on her plate, clearly wishing she was anywhere else. You know what your problem is? Vanessa's voice cut through the noise. You're so desperate to prove Daddy wrong that you've built a life nobody wants. You make money nobody cares about, for what? To come home to an empty apartment? To spend holidays alone? I'm not alone. Aren't you? She leaned back, triumphant. You're here alone. No date. No partner. Just sad, single Maya. Something inside me cracked. Not broke. I'd save the breaking for later. But cracked, letting light in or maybe letting darkness out. I reached for my phone. Oh, are we boring you? Vanessa asked. Got important work emails to check? I pulled up my messages, found the text from this morning. Tristan sending photos from London. Him at breakfast with executives. A selfie with Big Ben in the background. And then the message that had made me laugh out loud in my empty apartment. Closed the deal. Surprised them by showing up in person. They thought I was joking when I said I'd fly to London overnight to sign. Your strength inspires me to be bolder, love. Coming home to you tomorrow. Can't wait to see my future wife. Future wife. I smiled, genuine and wide, and the table quieted at the sight of it. What's so funny? Vanessa demanded. Nothing, I said, still smiling. Actually, everything. Paya, what? I turned my phone around, showing them the screen. The messages. The photos. Tristan in his impeccably tailored suit, standing in boardrooms where billions changed hands. This is Tristan, I said quietly. My fiancé. You could have heard a pin drop. Crystal gasped. Junior's mouth fell open. Mama's hand froze halfway to her wine glass. You're what? Vanessa's voice came out strangled. My fiancé. We've been together 9 months. He proposed 3 weeks ago. I said yes. I scrolled through more photos. Tristan and me at a charity gala. Tristan laughing at something I'd said. Tristan looking at me like I hung the moon and stars. You're lying, Vanessa said, but her voice shook. Why would I lie? Because you're jealous. Because you want what I have. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Vanessa honey. I have exactly what I want. Richard cleared his throat. Who is this guy? What does he do? Private equity, I said simply. He acquires companies, turns them around, sometimes breaks them up and sells the pieces. Whatever makes the most business sense. Private equity, Richard repeated, and something flickered in his eyes. Fear? Recognition? His firm specializes in commercial real estate companies actually, I continued, watching Richard's face pale. Funny coincidence. Another text came through and I glanced at it, my smile growing wider. This one included an attachment. A contract, official letterhead, signatures still wet with digital ink. Oh, I said softly. This is interesting. What? Vanessa snapped, her composure cracking. I read the message out loud, slowly, savoring every word. Congratulations, my love. The acquisition finalized an hour ago. I now own Richardson Commercial Properties, all subsidiaries and associated holdings. Ironic name, isn't it? Thought you'd appreciate the timing. Merry Christmas. Tell your family I said hello. The color drained from Richard's face. Completely, utterly drained, leaving him gray as ash. That's not possible, he whispered. The board voted unanimously this morning. I continued reading. They'd apparently been fielding offers for months. Your performance reviews were, let's say, less than impressive. Multiple investors wanted out. Tristan offered them a premium. They jumped at it. Hiya. Richard stood, his chair scraping loudly. This is some kind of joke. You're making this up. I forwarded him the document. His phone buzzed. He looked at it, then at me, then back at his phone. How did you? He sank back into his chair. Vanessa grabbed his phone, reading frantically. This can't be real. Richard, tell them this isn't real. It's real, he said hollowly. The board meeting. This morning. They said a buyer had come forward, very aggressive offer, cash deal. I thought they said they'd tell me who. They just did, I said quietly. The table erupted. Mama demanding explanations. Daddy cursing. Junior laughing in disbelief. Vanessa's children started crying, picking up on their parents' panic without understanding why. You did this. Vanessa turned on me, her beautiful face twisted with rage. You vengeful bitch. You set this up. You planned this. I didn't plan anything, I said truthfully. I didn't even know Tristan was looking at Richardson Properties until this morning. He makes his own business decisions. Convenient. Right before Christmas dinner? Right before you come here to gloat. Actually, he didn't know I'd be here tonight. I haven't told him much about you all. That landed hard. Vanessa's face crumpled. You're ashamed of us. No, I said. I'm protecting him from you. Richard was on his phone now, frantically calling people. Board members. Lawyers. Anyone who might tell him this was a mistake. Each call ended badly. Confirmations, apologies, congratulations on the generous severance package. Severance. He was being let go. Tristan was cleaning house. This is illegal. Richard shouted. You can't just, there are contracts, agreements. All honored, I assured him. Tristan is very thorough. Every I dotted, every T crossed. That's why he's successful. He doesn't make mistakes. Maya, please. Mama's voice broke. Why would you do this to family? Why would you hurt us like this? I didn't do anything, I said, feeling strangely calm. Tristan bought a company. It's business. The fact that Richard worked there is coincidence. Bullshit. Vanessa screamed. You told him. You planned this. You wanted revenge because you what, Vanessa? Said I was too old. Too single. Too focused on my career to have a real life. I stood, my hands surprisingly steady. You're right. I heard all of that. Just like I've heard it my whole life. The difference is, I stopped caring about your opinion somewhere around my second seven-figure settlement. So this is revenge, Daddy said darkly. No. This is consequence. I looked around the table at these people who'd spent decades making me feel small. You wanted to know about my life? Fine. I'm a partner at one of the most prestigious law firms in the country. I've won cases that changed industry standards. I own my apartment outright. Penthouse city views worth more than this house 3 times over. I have investments, savings, security. And yes, I'm getting married. To a man who sees me, values me, respects me. A man who destroys businesses, Richard spat. He rebuilds them. Saves jobs. Creates value. You drove Richardson Properties into the ground with bad decisions and worse management. Tristan is fixing your mess. Vanessa was crying now, mascara running. You're enjoying this. You're actually enjoying watching us fall apart. Was I examined my feelings, tried to find the satisfaction I'd expected. Instead I felt hollow. Tired. No, I said honestly. I'm not enjoying this. I wish it had been different. I wish you'd seen me. Really seen me. Just once. Seen you. Mama's voice rose to a shriek. We've done nothing but try to help you. Try to fix you. Fix me? I wasn't broken. You were selfish. Ungrateful. He was standing now, trembling. We gave you everything. Education, support, love. You gave me criticism and disappointment. The words exploded out of me, years of silence breaking like a dam. Nothing I did was ever enough. Straight A's? Who cares? Vanessa won a pageant. Law school? Nice, but when's the wedding? Partner at 35? Great, but where are the grandchildren? Because those things matter. Daddy roared. Family matters. Legacy matters. Not money, not titles, not your precious career. Then why did you celebrate Richard's money? Why did Vanessa's marriage to wealth matter so much? I turned to my sister. You want to know the truth? I could have been you. I dated a wealthy man in law school. Old money, connected family, ring on my finger by graduation. You know why I said no? She stared at me, mascara stained and furious. Because he wanted me to quit law. Work part-time, maybe something flexible for when the kids came. He had my whole life planned. Charity boards, country clubs, being Mrs. Graham, whoever. And I realized I'd rather be alone than invisible. That's not the same. It's exactly the same. I grabbed my purse, done with this dinner, this family, this lifetime of not measuring up. You married Richard and disappeared. You're not Vanessa anymore. You're Richard's wife. The children's mother. You organize parties and manage households and exist entirely in relation to other people. That's what women do. Mama shouted. That's what you did. And you were miserable. And you made sure we knew it. The truth hung there, ugly and undeniable. Every complaint about Daddy. Every sigh about sacrifices. Every comment about dreams you'd given up. You taught us that marriage was a trap, then got angry when I refused to walk into it. Mama slapped me. Hard. Fast. My head snapped to the side, my cheek burning. The room went silent. I touched my face, feeling the heat of her handprint. Crystal was crying quietly. Junior looked shocked. Daddy stared at his plate, unable or unwilling to intervene. Feel better? I asked Mama quietly. She was shaking, her hands still raised like she might hit me again. Get out of my house. Gladly. I picked up my purse, checked my phone. Another text from Tristan. Landing in 3 hours. Can't wait to hold you. I showed it to Vanessa one last time. You want to know the saddest part? Tristan begged me to let him come tonight. To meet you all, do the traditional introduction thing. I said no. I told him you wouldn't understand, wouldn't approve, would find ways to diminish what we have. I laughed, bitter and broken. I was protecting him. But I was really protecting you. From what? Vanessa whispered. From seeing how small you'd make me feel. From watching you treat the man I love with the same contempt you've always shown me. I headed for the door. Tristan doesn't know I came tonight. Doesn't know about dinner. When he bought Richardson Properties, it was because it was failing and he saw potential. He has no idea Richard is my brother-in-law. That's how little I've mentioned you. Mama reached for me, but I stepped back. I came tonight because you demanded it. Because some part of me still hoped things could be different. That maybe just once you'd be happy for me. I looked around at their faces, angry, ashamed, defiant. But you're not happy people. You're miserable and you need everyone else to be miserable too. Well, I'm done. I'm done shrinking myself to make you comfortable. I'm done apologizing for success. I'm done being your disappointment. If you leave now, don't bother coming back, Daddy said. Don't worry. I won't. I opened the door, cold air rushing in. Merry Christmas. I hope Richard's severance package is enough to keep this charade going a while longer. I walked to my car, got in, drove 3 blocks before pulling over. Then I cried. Not sad tears, not angry tears. Relief tears. Grief tears. Freedom tears. My phone rang. Tristan. Hey, I answered, voice shaking. I thought you were still in the air. Landed early. Were you? You sound upset. Can you come get me? I'll send my location. Already on my way. 20 minutes later, his car pulled up. He got out, wrapped me in his arms, asked no questions. Just held me while I fell apart, then pulled myself back together. Ready to go home? He finally asked. I thought about my apartment. Empty but mine. Quiet but peaceful. Lonely sometimes but never small. Yeah, I said. Let's go home. As we drove away, I didn't look back at my mother's house, glowing with Christmas lights and hollow cheer. That chapter was closed. Painfully, messily, finally closed. Tristan reached over, took my hand. Whatever happened tonight, you're not alone anymore. You know that, right? I squeezed his hand, feeling his ring press against my finger. I know. But the truth was darker, heavier. I'd won tonight. Showed them my success, my man, my life they couldn't diminish. But winning felt like losing. Because the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally had proven they never really had. The city lights blurred past the window. Somewhere behind us, my family was probably already rewriting the narrative, making me the villain, the ungrateful daughter who'd brought ruin. They'd never see their part in it. Never acknowledge decades of cruelty disguised as concern. And I'd never have the family I'd always wanted. The one that celebrated me. The one that saw me. Some wounds don't heal. Some losses are permanent. But I had Tristan. I had myself. I had a life built on my own terms. Maybe that would have to be enough. Maybe it already was. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more emotional journeys. Share your own experiences in the comments. Have you ever had to choose between family acceptance and personal truth? Let's support each other.